Hello, Ravens fans, and welcome to another Spotlight Ravens series. I'm Aaron Schneider, the Sports Information Director at Anderson University, and joining us is our first-year head swimming and diving coach, Emma Maubach. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. So to kick things off, normally we talk about hometown, where you're from, and stuff. Of course, you and we share the same hometown, and in fact, the same high school.
Yes, we do.
Purple Raiders. So tell us about that.
Yeah, I'm from Bloomington Normal, Illinois, and I went to Bloomington High School. So it's about 3.5 hours west from here.
Mm-hmm. Of course, and of course, you make that same drive, and your swimming and diving coach was my health teacher.
Yes, he's amazing.
So tell us a little bit about what got you into swimming and diving.
Yeah, so when I was a little girl, I started swim lessons when I was 3 years old, because my mom wanted us to be safe around the water. Like whenever we would go out around swimming or anything, her and my dad just wanted to make sure that we were always safe. So then my sister did swim lessons when she was 3 as well, and she's younger than me, and she was very, very talented. So she got asked to be on a pre-team, which is like a little kids swim team. And I was like, that's not fair. I want to join too. So then I joined as well. So I was 7 years old when I started swimming competitively.
And then throwing this out there, your sister Tess, currently a senior on the team.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. And then just throwing out our graduating class on high school. Mine is 2011. Yours was 2016.
Correct.
And then
yes.
So now going into your college phase, tell us a little bit about why you chose AU.
So AU is the only school I applied to. I had my mindset since the very beginning that I wanted to go here. And I was ready to give up swimming in high school so that I would be able to go here. And then magically in like November-ish of my senior year, I heard that Anderson University was starting their swim program. And so then I just knew it was the perfect place for me.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about that, because you were, of course, you were part of the first freshman class, so the inaugural program, and you were actually part of the first 4-year graduating class.
Yeah, so Connor Snare recruited me. He was our very first coach here, and it went well. We had a good start first season, and that's what it was.
Okay. So now talking a little bit about your experience at AU, what was your favorite class?
My favorite class was either SPRL 3300, which was management of sports facilities and events, or SPRL 2450, which is a packed class, and it was all the outdoor activities. So archery, golf, bowling, stuff like that.
Okay. And then who was your favorite professor?
Either Dr. Scott or Coach Miller.
All right. And then at your time at AU, what was your favorite non-athletic memory?
My favorite non-athletic memory was I went to Thailand on a triath trip my senior year.
Okay. And then what was your favorite athletic memory?
So it's kind of a little story. It was my sophomore year, and I swam distance my sophomore year. So I swam and we were at the conference meet. It was our very first conference meet as well. So I swam the 500 earlier in the meet, and it was up to the mile. And in the 500, I couldn't find where my coach was on the side of the pool, which is super important for distance swimmers. That's how you like stay on pace. So I asked him after the 500, I said, can you put on like bright gloves or something so that I can see you on the side of the pool with everyone standing there? And he was like, yeah. So for my mile, he wore neon yellow socks on his hands so that I could find him on the side of the pool. And it helped so much that I out-touched a Franklin girl, and I placed 4th in the mile my sophomore year.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. And then you're getting 4th your sophomore years was at your best career finishes, just a tad bit off that 3rd that you need to get all conference, but right. still a pretty notable finish. And then of course throughout your career you scored both as an individual and during relay races every year at the conference meet. And then like I said earlier, you graduated as you're part of the first graduating class. Tell a little bit about that.
Yeah, so all 4 years I stayed on the team, and each year our freshman class that I was with, and then so forth, slowly started to dwindle down, and I think I graduated with 3 other swimmers.
It was 2. So if I remember correctly, it was Heather and then Andrew.
Yeah, so it's the 3 of us. Yep. And so it was super fun to like stay all 4 years with them and finish through. So yeah, it was a privilege and an honor for sure.
All right. And then adding in a little bit on some of the other things, you're part of SAC for 3 years, but one thing I did want to talk about before we go postgraduate is tell a little bit about your NCAA career in sports forum that you took part in.
Yeah, so I applied for it my senior year because around my sophomore and junior year, I knew I wanted to start coaching. And that's when I started to get into it. And I thought that this conference would be super beneficial. I heard about it through SAC, and Coach Myrie encouraged me to apply for it, as well as our coach at the time, Tanner Barton, had done it in the previous year. So it was supposed to be all in person, but COVID happened senior year for me. So it turned into a virtual conference. And it was like 3 or 4 days long. There was a ton of breakout sessions. It was with a ton of different athletes that were all interested in career in sports. There was about 300 of us on that Zoom call. And then we got broken down into groups of 10. So it was super beneficial, and I learned a lot just from so many different aspects of coaching and sports in general. So it was awesome.
All right. And then basically when did you know that you wanted to get into coaching?
Around my sophomore year. So I came into AU as a youth ministry major, thought I wanted to do like sports camps and church camps type area. And then I fell in love with the sport my sophomore year even more. And I felt like it was my job to help encourage other athletes and push them to their potential. So I felt like coaching started coming to my mind around my sophomore and junior year.
Okay. And then of course you got your last year you were an assistant coach on our swimming and diving team. Now you're filling the role of head coach.
Yes.
Right. So now going into the next segment of questions. First, who is your biggest inspiration and why?
My biggest inspiration actually is the guy that you mentioned earlier, Coach Bob Loy. He was my high school and my club coach and one of my teachers in high school. He had a huge passion for the sport way outside of just the sport itself. He cared about all of his athletes as individuals. He wanted them to be successful. And so it's really inspired me to do that with my athletes.
Mm-hmm. And rest in peace, of course.
Of course.
What is the driving force what is your driving force / motivation and why?
My driving force and motivation is making my parents proud and always striving to see personal growth.
Okay. What is your favorite aspect about sports and why?
My favorite aspect about sports is having helping those athletes find a home in a community where they belong, outside of the competitiveness, of course, but I think it gives people a purpose and friends and time management and all of the above. So.
Okay. What are your favorite hobbies?
I really enjoy doing crafts and shopping and taking naps. So those are all my hobbies.
There you go. You got it. What's your favorite craft?
I love painting. I'm not very good at it, but I think it's pretty fun. So it's really relaxing for me.
All right. And then what is a little known but amazing fact about yourself?
I can say the alphabet backwards.
There you go.
Yes.
And
I
then
taught myself one day at practice because I was bored at a kick set. So I just started practicing and now I got it.
there you go. All right. Have you played any other sports outside of the sport you coach?
I tried when I was younger. I tried to play softball, but being a swimmer, I'm not very coordinated on land for on land sports. So I just stuck to swimming.
Okay. And then outside of swimming and diving, what is your favorite sport?
My favorite sport outside of swimming would be baseball.
Okay. And then one more. What's your favorite event?
Definitely the distance events. I love helping athletes. I love swimming them myself, but then I love helping athletes realize their potential and pushing themselves in long distance events. I think it's super special.
Okay. And then going into the next segment of questions. First, what is your favorite season?
My favorite season is fall, for sure.
All right. What is your favorite kind of pizza?
Okay, so my favorite kind of pizza is pepperoni pizza, but cold out of the fridge.
Okay, I can see that. Like if when it comes to cold pizza, usually my go-tos are either cheese or pepperoni. One of those. For me, when it comes to cold pizza, it's gotta have a good amount of sauce on it.
I agree. Yes.
Yeah. What is your favorite sports team?
The Chicago Cubs.
Okay. List 3 words to describe yourself.
I would say those 3 words would be bold, strong, and independent.
There you go. That's some good ones. What is your favorite movie?
Definitely the new Footloose.
Okay. Have you traveled outside of the country? If so, where?
Yes. So like I mentioned earlier, I went to Thailand and I've also been to the Dominican Republic.
Okay. What is your favorite holiday?
The 4th of July.
Okay. What is your favorite condiment?
Definitely has to be ranch.
Okay. And then what is your lucky number?
Number 50.
Okay. Is there a reason for that?
No, it's just a good
Okay.
number. It's in the middle,
What is the strangest nickname you have?
So this started when I was an athlete here and it's somehow continued. When I was an athlete, they called me Mima because they said I was a walking meme because I don't understand them very well. So now it's turned into Coach Mima. So I'm the walking meme of the team, I guess.
There you go. When you're little, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a mom, but I knew that wasn't realistic at the time. So coaching it is, and I think I'm living out the dream.
There you go. What is your favorite quote?
In a world where you can be anything, be yourself.
Okay. And then what is your favorite food?
Chicken and chocolate, but not together.
Okay. What is your favorite band/artist?
It's a tie between Cody Johnson and Brett Eldridge. They're both country singers.
All right. And then what is your favorite ice cream flavor?
Mint chocolate chip.
Okay. So now we get into the next segment of questions. Even though this is your first year as a head coach, you've still been at Anderson for 5 years, 4 as a student athlete, 1 as a coach. Tell us what your sell is on Anderson University.
So I always tell prospective student athletes that this is a place of community. And if this is the place where God is calling you, then go ahead and join us. I always inspire them and encourage them to follow their heart and follow what God has their plan for them.
All right. What is your coaching philosophy? What coaching philosophy do you bring to your program?
So it's student first, athlete second. Grades are super important to me. At the end of your 4 years, you won't be an athlete anymore, but you need to have your degree. And I tell my athletes that every day. They're D3 athletes. They're still in the sport because they love it. And so at the end of it, I want them to have a purpose and a joy outside of swimming or diving.
All right. What do you hope your program will accomplish?
In the next year, I hope that we have team unity and growth like never before. And in the next few years, I hope that we will get the opportunity to place first in conference for both the men's and the women's team.
All right. And then finally, when someone sees any of your program student athletes, what do you hope comes to mind?
I hope that people think my athletes are kind and respectful and determined. So, yeah.
All right. Well, I think I've covered the questions I wanted to. Ravens fans, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to follow along with any more Spotlight Ravens series and any more content we may be putting out on YouTube. And Coach Maubach, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.